Okay, so I am going to show you or explain what a menu driver is in MenuSys. Menu drivers basically is the method or the tool, simply said the program that gets used to look at how a menu is defined in MenuSys. Consume all that information, the headings, the items, and all the branch links associated with it, and it presents that menu as we see here. The menu that we've been working with most is configurations and settings for my CMS system. So here between these two menus, we see a two-column on one menu versus it's really one column for the heading and three columns for the item, and that's what the menu driver is pretty much handling for you. The menu driver also handles some of the deep interaction between the menu system and the driver itself. Everything that is happening underneath the hood so that the driver and menu system are tightly coupled is within the driver. In this video we're only going to talk about the presentation, what you see here. We're not going to go over some of the low-level things that the driver is doing, so menu system can deeply interact with it, but probably in a future video I'll explain that. But let's just say you want to change this particular menu, CMS configuration. So I'm already on the screen where I maintain that menu, CMS configuration, and right here I'm showing you the menu driver associated with that menu. So everything or most things in MenuSys is a branch link or a link. So this menu has a branch link associated with it. So we want to change this menu driver to something else. So we're going to hit F9, and now we can see the execution link for that menu. So when you look here, you see 510B, and if we look at the branch link for that menu, we see that it has 510B defined. Well, we're going to change that to 502, MMPR 502. So now that menu has a new menu driver. We're going to leave here. We're going to go back into the menu, and now we have a new look and feel. MenuSys understands menus as headings and items, and the headings are now turned into the items on the menu bar, and the items have turned into those selectable items within the menu bar. So when I interact with that item, it still calls that program. No different than me selecting the option off of the menu that I had before. So let's just say we change that menu driver to 502A, and we'll get out and we'll go back in. The only difference between the previous one and this one is it keeps the background. As you can see here, I use that menu driver. I have my home key defined, and my home key basically brings up, I call it my system menu. So no matter where I'm at, I can basically click on system, then get to the command line from anywhere. So whether I'm in MenuSys, if I'm, it's a different application that I have, sitting here, and I can be within the application. Let's just say I'm on a screen, and again, this is not a menu now. This is an application. This screen knows how to interact with the menu system. If I hit the home key, it still brings up that system menu no matter where I'm at. So it's a nice little feature of mapping all the keys to something. So we'll go back into CMS. We'll go into configuration. We'll change that menu driver to something else, because again, not every menu is suited for everyone. We'll select MMPR 510, different menu driver. We'll go into configuration, and now we have a single heading, a single column for the heading, and a single column for the menu items. No longer a menu bar, no longer a single column with heading with 3 columns of items. So let's say we want to change it to something else. And we'll select 510A. And we'll go back in. So column heading centered, now with an underscore. And we now have a single column of headings, more than likely menu items, and more than likely these items will fit underneath that underscore, not the whole row on the screen. So let's select another one. We already know what 510B looks like. We'll select 511. Come back in. So now we have 2 columns of headings, and under each heading we have all of our menu items. And again, if I hit C, it still calls my program. And I used OBJ last time. It still calls my program. So the one thing to keep in mind about drivers is the important thing to understand is they do not invoke the program. Menu system does that. The only thing a driver does is presentation. That's its sole purpose, is take the menu definition and present it so the user can make a selection. We'll jump right to 512. And we'll take a look at that menu. CFG. And we now have 3 columns of headings. And underneath each heading are the menu items. Might want to, maybe someone wants to squeeze everything in as much as possible, so that one might work for someone. Let's select another. Let's jump to 513. And let's see, what did I make this one look like? 513 single centered menus on the screen, somewhat centered. And 514A, this one, this little experiment, a bit of a challenge. So this one is, because I was here before, pre-selected it. The headings are on the left, so when I select the heading, it will bring up all the items on the right. If I select the item on the right, it calls the program as intended. Same with object type. Let's go into that. Calls the program as intended. But if each time you make a selection on the heading, you'll see the heading turn white, just so you know which heading you're on. And then all the items underneath of that heading will basically be presented on the right hand side. And we'll do one more. So this one, oops, I'll go back in, get out, go in. So when I select CFG, I see a pop-up window with my headings within the pop-up window. If I cursor and click and select, all of my items are now in another window. My heading turns into the window heading, and if I select that, calls a program. So again, headings don't, menu drivers don't call programs. Menu system does. So that is basically menu drivers. Hopefully I explained that and you guys understand. Okay, thank you.